My name is Natalie Brooks. I was 32 years old when I learned that some people don't quit their jobs because they're unhappy. They quit because they think someone else will carry them. I met Ethan in January. Hinge. A normal profile. No red flags. No dramatic bio about hustle culture or finding himself. He said he worked in marketing operations at a mid-sized firm. I believed him. I worked as a product analyst at a fintech company. Stable, predictable, boring in the best way. We clicked fast, but not reckless fast. 4 months in, we were doing what normal adults do when things are okay. Not magical, not chaotic, just steady. Dinner twice a week, sleepovers, toothbrush at my place, not his. I noticed that. I ignored it. We hadn't said forever. We hadn't said marriage. We hadn't even said exclusive out loud. But we weren't seeing other people. Then Tuesday happened. He came over after work while I was cooking. Pasta. Chicken. Garlic burning a little because I was distracted by a spreadsheet still open on my laptop. He didn't kiss me hello. He sat at the kitchen counter scrolling his phone, silent. That alone made my stomach tighten. You okay? I asked. Yeah, just had an interesting day. I stirred the sauce. Interesting how? He put his phone down. I quit my job. I stopped moving. Quit? Like you gave notice? No, I walked out at lunch, told them I was done. For a second, my brain just went blank. Did something happen? I asked carefully. Like HR stuff? Someone crossed a line? No, nothing like that. I just wasn't fulfilled. I was miserable. Life's too short to wake up every day hating what you do. I waited for the rest. It didn't come. So what's the plan? That's when he smiled. Not nervous, not uncertain, confident. I'm going to take some time, figure out what I really want, maybe take a few online courses, really find my passion. A warning bell went off in my chest. How long? He shrugged. Could be a month, could be 6. I don't want to rush it. I plated the food slowly. Okay, but you've got savings, right? He took a bite like we were discussing vacation plans. So here's the thing. My rent's $1,600. Then car payment, insurance, phone, groceries. I'm around $2,800 a month. $3,000 to be realistic. I looked at him. Then you'll need to pick something up pretty quickly, even part-time. He didn't flinch. I was actually thinking you could help me out. The words landed heavy. Help you how? Cover my expenses for a bit, just until I get things figured out. I laughed. I didn't mean to. It just came out. We've been dating 4 months, I said. I'm not paying your bills. His face changed instantly. Are you serious right now? Yes. I thought we were building something. We are, but that doesn't mean I'm financially responsible for you. It's temporary. How temporary? I asked. You just said you don't know. He stood up. This isn't about money. This is about support. No, I said. This is about you quitting your job without a plan and expecting me to fix it. Stop reducing us to a number, he snapped. 4 months doesn't mean nothing. Then what does it mean? He crossed his arms. We're basically married. I actually choked on my wine. We are what? We live together half the week. We've met each other's friends. You're supposed to support your partner. We are not married, I said slowly. We're not engaged. We haven't even talked about combining lives. So you're seeing other people? That's not what I said. What I'm saying, I continued, is that I'm not funding your unemployment. He grabbed his jacket. I can't believe how selfish you're being. And I can't believe you thought this was okay. He walked out, left his plate on the counter. I stood there staring at the door long after it closed, thinking one thing over and over. That conversation should never have happened. I thought that was it. I genuinely believed that argument was the kind people have, cool off from, and then either move past or quietly drift away from. I underestimated how deeply Ethan believed the story he'd already written in his head. The next morning, my phone buzzed before my alarm. Ethan, I'm sorry for getting upset last night. I know it was sudden. Can we talk? I stared at the message longer than I should have. Against my better judgment, I called him. Look, I said once he picked up, keeping my voice even. I get hating your job. I really do. But quitting without a plan and expecting me to cover everything isn't realistic. I'm not asking you to support me forever, he said quickly. Too quickly. Just until I get back on my feet. How long is that? I don't know. That's the whole point of figuring things out. Then get any job while you figure it out, I said. Target, Starbucks, a restaurant, something. There was a pause. Then he sighed. Those jobs are beneath me. There it was. I have a bachelor's degree, he added, like that sentence paid rent. A paycheck pays rent, I said, not a degree. If you really cared about me, money wouldn't matter. I closed my eyes. We've been dating 4 months, I said. I'm not in love with you. Silence. Then the call ended. No goodbye, no argument, just a click. For 2 days, nothing. I actually started to relax. I told myself maybe reality finally caught up with him. Maybe he'd figured something out. Then, while I was at work, my phone lit up. Venmo notification. I opened it. Request. $2,800 April expenses. Thanks, babe. My stomach dropped. I declined it immediately. Within seconds, my phone exploded. Ethan, why did you decline that? Hello? I need that money. My rent is due in 3 days. Me, I'm not paying your bills. We talked about this. Ethan, I'm going to be homeless. My landlord already sent a notice. Me, then get a job. Ethan, you're really going to let me become homeless? I stared at the screen, heat creeping up my neck. Me, you're trying to guilt me into fixing a decision you made without talking to me. He called. I didn't answer. He called again. And again? 17 times. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. The texts kept coming. You're abandoning me when I need you most. I can't believe I trusted you. My mom was right about you. You're just like every other woman who uses men. That one almost made me laugh. Almost. Then his best friend texted me. Hey, he's really not doing okay. Can you just help him out a little? He quit his job without a backup plan, I replied. That's not my emergency. He thought you were serious. 4 months is not shared finances serious. Wow, she wrote. That's cold. I blocked her. 2 days later, I got home from work around 6:30. There was someone sitting on the curb outside my building, a suitcase at his feet. Ethan, what are you doing here? I asked. He looked up, eyes red, face blotchy. My roommate kicked me out. She said if I can't pay May rent, I need to leave. My stomach sank, but not with sympathy, with dread. You can't stay here, I said. Where else am I supposed to go? Your mom's, a friend's couch, a hostel. My mom lives in Arizona. And? You're my girlfriend, he said. You're supposed to help me. I'm not your girlfriend anymore. His jaw dropped. You're breaking up with me because I need help? No, I said. I'm breaking up with you because you quit your job expecting me to bankroll your life, then showed up at my apartment with a suitcase after 16 weeks of dating. This isn't normal, I added quietly. I have nowhere else to go, he said. And then he started crying. Not quiet tears, full, ugly sobbing, right there on the sidewalk. An older woman walking her dog glared at me like I'd just kicked a puppy. Perfect. You have options, I said. You just don't like them. Please, he whispered, just a few nights. I'll figure something out. And this was where I screwed up. The suitcase, the tears, the performance. 3 days, I said finally. You sleep on the couch. You spend those 3 days applying to every job you can find. The tears stopped instantly. Thank you, he said, relief flooding his face. I knew you still cared. That should have been my cue to walk it back. That first night, he ordered takeout. Expensive Thai. Can you get this? He asked casually. I'll pay you back once I'm working again. No, I said. You're broke, remember? He stared at me like I'd suggested dumpster diving. He ate ramen with visible resentment. The next morning, I left early for work. Me. Job applications today. Serious ones. When I got home around 6, he was on my couch, wearing my hoodie, eating my expensive snacks, watching Netflix. How'd the job hunt go? I asked. Good, he said easily. Applied to a bunch. Where? Marketing coordinator roles, similar to what I was doing. Show me. His body stiffened. Why do I have to prove it? Because you're staying here for free. He opened his laptop. No job sites, no applications, just Netflix, Instagram, hours of it. I was researching first, he said. I need to make sure the companies align with my values. I crossed my arms. Pack your stuff. His head snapped up. What? You're leaving. It's almost 7, he said. Where am I supposed to go? Not my problem anymore. He tried crying again. I waited. When it didn't work, he packed, slowly, dramatically. At the door, he turned. I'll never forgive you for this. Okay, I said. I locked the door behind him, changed my Netflix password, and checked my apartment to make sure nothing was missing. An hour later, an unknown number called. This is Ethan's mother, the voice snapped. You should be ashamed of yourself. Blocked. That was the moment I realized this wasn't over. Not even close. I didn't sleep much that night. Every sound outside my apartment made me tense. Footsteps in the hallway, an elevator ding, a car door slamming on the street below. My brain kept replaying the same image. Ethan standing on the curb with that suitcase, looking shocked that reality hadn't bent for him. I told myself it was over. By morning, that lie had already unraveled. It started with texts from numbers I didn't recognize. Different area codes, different apps, same message. You destroyed my life. I lost everything because of you. You led me on and abandoned me. I didn't respond. I screenshot everything and dropped it into a folder on my laptop labeled Evidence. It felt dramatic at the time. It wouldn't later. 2 days after that, I came home from work and saw 2 police officers standing in my building's lobby, talking to the doorman. My stomach dropped straight through the floor. They turned when they saw me. Are you Natalie Brooks? Yes, I said, forcing my voice steady. We need to speak with you regarding a report filed by your ex-boyfriend. They followed me upstairs. Inside my apartment, one officer read from his tablet. He's claiming you illegally evicted him and withheld personal property valued at approximately $300. I let out a slow breath. He was never a tenant, I said. He's not on my lease. He never paid rent. He stayed here for 3 days as a guest after he lost his housing. Can we look around? The younger officer asked. Absolutely. They checked closets, drawers, the couch. There was nothing, because there was nothing. He also claims you promised to support him financially, the older officer added. We dated for 4 months, I said. He quit his job without telling me and expected me to pay his bills. I said no. The older officer nodded. That's not illegal, he said. Do you have documentation of the timeline? I pulled out my phone and showed them everything. The texts, the Venmo requests, the suitcase, the messages demanding money. They exchanged a look. We're marking this as unfounded, the older officer said. But keep all of this. If he escalates, you may need a restraining order. If he escalates, he already had. After they left, I called my older brother Lucas, who worked as a paralegal. Document everything, he said immediately. Every message, every interaction. Assume this isn't done. He was right. 2 days later, my doorman called me at work. Hey, Natalie, he said quietly. Your ex is in the lobby. He's demanding to come upstairs, saying he lives here. He doesn't, I said. Please don't let him up. He's getting aggressive. Should I call the police? Yes. By the time I got home, Ethan was gone. The next morning, I went straight to building management and filed a formal trespass notice. He was officially banned from the property. That should have stopped him. It didn't. That Thursday, my manager asked me to step into her office. I sat down, heart pounding. So, she said carefully, we received a harassment complaint. My stomach twisted. From who? Your ex-boyfriend. I actually laughed, sharp and humorless. He says you're creating a hostile environment for men, she continued. That you're financially abusive and emotionally manipulative. I stared at her. He doesn't work here. I know, she said. That's why I wanted to hear your side. I told her everything. From the night he quit, to the suitcase, to the police report. I showed her the messages. She leaned back in her chair and shook her head. So he quit his job and expected you to fund his unemployment after 4 months of dating? Yes. This is not a company issue, she said flatly. We'll respond that he has no affiliation with us and that his claims are personal, but keep documenting. I walked out shaking, not from fear, but from anger. That night, I got an email from his mother, a long one. Pages about how I had ruined her son's future, how I had encouraged him to dream and then pulled the rug out, how they were considering legal action for emotional damages. I forwarded it to Lucas. He had a lawyer friend draft a cease and desist letter. It cost me $300, worth every cent. For 4 days, silence. I almost relaxed. Then another Venmo request came through, $8,400. Back pay for 3 months of emotional labor, housing support, and meals you promised me. I didn't even hesitate. Screenshot. Decline. An hour later, he posted on Instagram. He didn't tag me, but it was obvious. When you give someone everything and they throw you away like trash. When you trust someone and they show their true colors. I'll survive this betrayal. The comments were split. You deserve better, King. She's heartless. Then others. Didn't you quit your job and ask her to pay your rent? That's on you, dude. The post vanished within an hour. A friend sent me screenshots anyway. Then the messages from acquaintances started. Heard what happened. He's saying you financially abused him. I didn't reply. I just added more screenshots to the folder. Last week, he showed up at the coffee shop I go to every morning. I was in line when he walked in. He saw me and snapped. There she is, he yelled. The woman who ruined my life. Every head turned. I'm not talking to you, I said calmly. You promised to support me. I promised nothing. You can't even face what you did. The barista stepped between us. Sir, you need to leave or I'm calling the police. He emotionally abused me, Ethan shouted. He owes me money. I didn't react. The barista called the cops anyway. Ethan stormed out before they arrived. I apologized to the staff. Your ex? The barista asked. Unfortunately. Yikes, she said. He's intense. That night, I filed another police report. The officer taking it looked tired. You need to get a restraining order, she said. This is escalating. I know, I replied. I'm working on it. Don't work on it, she said firmly. Do it. So I did. Lucas helped me file. Court date scheduled. My evidence binder was already 2 inches thick. Texts, emails, police reports, witness statements. This wasn't a breakup anymore. It was containment. And the scariest part, Ethan still believed he was the victim. The days leading up to the hearing felt unreal. Like I'd stepped into someone else's life and was just waiting to wake up. I changed my routine without thinking about it. Different coffee shop, different gym hours, different routes home. I told my neighbors not to let anyone up asking for me. I warned the front desk at work. I even gave the gym manager a heads up, slipping into a quiet corner to explain why a man they'd never met might suddenly show up asking questions about me. Every conversation ended the same way. That's concerning, someone would say. That word followed me everywhere. Concerning. 2 weeks before court, I got an Instagram message request from a random woman. Hey, this is weird, but did you date Ethan? My stomach tightened. Yes, I replied. Why? I've been on 3 dates with him, she wrote back. Tonight, he told me he's thinking about quitting his job to find his passion and asked if I'd be cool helping with bills while he figures it out. We met 10 days ago. I stared at my screen, hands steady, heart racing. I took a screenshot of the restraining order filing confirmation and sent it to him. Run. He did this to me. It escalated fast. The reply came almost immediately. Holy shit, thank you. I'm blocking him now. An hour later, he messaged again. He's calling me from different numbers, like nonstop. I closed the app. I couldn't save everyone, but at least one person had listened. The hearing was on a Tuesday morning. Lucas came with me, carrying the binder like it was a brick of reality. I'd stopped rereading the contents days earlier. I didn't need reminders. Ethan arrived with his mother. She shot me a look that felt like a verdict. He looked smaller than I remembered. Not defeated, offended. like the world had misunderstood him. The judge asked if he contested the restraining order. Yes, Ethan said immediately. She's lying about everything. Do you have evidence? The judge asked. Ethan pushed his binder forward proudly. Printed screenshots, old texts, early conversations. He said he cared about me, he said, voice shaking. He said he wanted a future. That's a promise. The judge blinked. Those are dating messages, she said flatly. They are not legally binding financial agreements. He knew I was going to quit my job, Ethan insisted. I stood. Your Honor, I found out after he quit. There was no prior discussion. The judge turned to the evidence in front of her. Texts, Venmo requests, police reports, trespass notices, workplace harassment documentation, witness statements. She flipped through page after page. Finally, she looked up. Mr. Carter, she said, you quit your job and expected your partner of 4 months to financially support you. When she declined, you engaged in a pattern of harassment, false police reports, workplace interference, trespassing, and public confrontation. Ethan opened his mouth. She held up a hand. This is textbook harassment. He emotionally abused me, Ethan said desperately. He made me feel worthless by refusing to pay my rent. Silence. The judge looked at him for a long moment. Do you have evidence of abuse? Ethan looked to his mother. She leaned forward. Your Honor, my son is struggling financially. The judge's tone sharpened. Your son is a grown man who made poor decisions and is now experiencing the consequences. The restraining order is granted. 1 year. No contact of any kind. Stay 100 yards away. Ethan started crying. Loud, dramatic. Like the sidewalk performance, only now it echoed in a courtroom. His mother hugged him and glared at me. This is unfair, she snapped. She should have to pay for what she did. The judge looked directly at her. I strongly suggest you don't give me a reason to extend this order to include you. They left without another word. Outside, Lucas bought me lunch. That was easier than expected, he said. Because he had nothing, I replied, just feelings. For 2 weeks, it was quiet. Then my doorman told me Ethan tried to enter the building again. He called the cops immediately. Ethan left before they arrived. After that, nothing. No texts, no burner numbers, no surprise appearances. Peace felt unfamiliar. I started seeing someone new a month later. Slowly. Carefully. He had his own place, his own job, his own life. On our 6th date, he paid for dinner. On the 7th, I did. When I vaguely mentioned my ex situation, he shook his head. I could never expect someone to support me, he said. That's wild. I smiled, not because it was charming, but because it was normal. That was when I realized how warped my sense of normal had become. The restraining order still had months left on it. Lucas said if Ethan violated it again, jail time was on the table. I hoped it wouldn't come to that, but I was ready if it did. I didn't regret dating him. I regretted ignoring my instincts the night he said, "We're basically married." That was the moment everything cracked. I just hadn't known it yet. 3 weeks after the restraining order hearing, life finally slowed down enough for me to feel it. The silence wasn't dramatic. It wasn't satisfying. It was just quiet. No random numbers lighting up my phone. No emails from strangers. No sudden knots in my stomach when I heard footsteps behind me. For the first time in months, my nervous system stopped bracing for impact. That's when the last shoe dropped. It came in the form of a message request on Instagram, from a woman this time. Hi, I'm sorry to bother you. You don't know me, but I think we dated the same guy. I stared at the screen. Ethan? I typed back. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Yes, she told me her name was Rachel. She worked in HR for a logistics company. She'd gone out with Ethan for about 6 weeks the year before I met him. Her message was long, careful, like she'd rewritten it a dozen times. He'd moved fast with her too. Constant texts, big words, connection, future. He'd talked about hating his job, about feeling trapped, about how she made him feel safe. Then one day, he'd quit. Same story. He'd expected her to help just temporarily. When she refused, he'd accused her of not caring. When she stood her ground, he'd reported her to HR, claiming she'd created a hostile environment for men. Her company transferred her teams to avoid conflict, not because she was guilty, because it was easier. "I didn't know you existed until someone sent me your restraining order screenshot," she wrote. "I just wanted you to know you weren't crazy. This is what he does." I thanked her. Not because I needed validation anymore, but because it confirmed something important. This was never about me. A few days later, I ran into a guy at a bar who used to work with Ethan. "Oh," he said when I mentioned his name. "That dude? Yeah, he's done that before." Done what? Dates women with stable jobs, gets emotionally intense fast, quits his job, then plays the victim when they won't support him. I felt something in my chest finally click into place. Pattern. That word again, but this time it brought clarity instead of fear. Apparently, at his previous company, he dated his manager for 2 months, quit, asked her to support him. When she said no, he filed an HR complaint claiming harassment. They didn't fire him. They transferred her. To avoid drama, I went home that night and added Rachel's messages to my evidence folder, not because I needed them anymore, but because I refused to let the truth disappear again. A week later, my doorman told me Ethan had tried to enter the building once more. He didn't even wait this time. He called the cops the second he saw him. Ethan left before they arrived. That was the last confirmed sighting. Life moved on quietly after that. Work stabilized. Sleep improved. My shoulders stopped living permanently near my ears. The man I'd started seeing, Daniel, never pushed, never rushed, never asked me to carry him. On our 8th date, we split the bill again. On the 9th, he cooked for me at his place. No speeches, no promises, just consistency. One night, he asked me if I regretted dating Ethan. I thought about it. Yeah, I said honestly, but also, better 4 months than 4 years. Or worse. Daniel nodded. Fair. The restraining order still had 9 months left on it. Lucas told me if Ethan violated it again, it wouldn't be a warning anymore. It would be consequences. I hoped it wouldn't come to that, but I wasn't afraid anymore. Looking back, what still unsettles me isn't the harassment or the court or even the audacity. It's how confident Ethan was, how sincerely he believed that 4 months of dating entitled him to my income, my home, my stability, how easily he reframed his choices as my responsibility. That belief didn't disappear when the judge spoke. It didn't disappear when the order was granted. It just moved on to the next person. And that's the part people don't talk about enough. Some people don't want partners. They want sponsors. They move fast. They create emotional urgency. They confuse intimacy with obligation. And when you say no, they don't see a boundary. They see betrayal. To anyone going through something like this, especially women who are told they're cold, selfish, or heartless for having financial boundaries, hear this clearly. You are not cruel for refusing to be someone's ATM. You are not abusive for saying no. You are not obligated to fund someone else's self-discovery because you shared a few months and some sleepovers. 4 months is nothing. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. My ex believed 16 weeks meant he was owed a free ride for as long as he needed. He was wrong. The court agreed. My life is quieter now, safer, better. And to Ethan, if you ever read this, I don't hate you. I genuinely hope you figure your life out. But other people are not responsible for your choices, your bills, or your refusal to stand on your own feet. You're in your 30s. Act like it. Get a job. Support yourself. And stop trying to trap women into funding your unemployment. That chapter is closed. I'm moving forward for good this time.